While writing a Java program, the private modifier is used to enforce encapsulation by restricting the access to the class members. A member declared as private can only be accessed within the same class. It is not visible or accessible to other classes, even if they are in the same package. In this lecture, we will see more features of the private modifier. Accessing private members is controlled using the getter and setter methods. We will see in this lecture in detail about the getter and setter methods. These methods allow us to validate and control the private variables. So let's move out to Eclipse and see how we can declare private variables and also use the getter and setter methods effectively to manage these private variables. Let us declare two private variables, name and age. We say private string name and private int age. These two are instance variables as they are declared at the class level. And since they are private, these two variables can be used only within this class and cannot be accessed outside the class. But say for some genuine reasons, you want to access this name and age in another class. But since they are declared as private, we cannot directly access them. And this is where we use the getter and setter methods to access these variables indirectly. And this is how we write the get and set methods. Public void set name string name. This dot name equals name. Public string get name return name. The same way we write it for the age also. We say set age int age, and we say get age and return age. Let's now try to understand how these methods are constructed and what they do. Look at these method names. We have the get and set prefixed before the variable names. So we have set name, get name. In the same way, we have set age and get age. And also notice that we are using the camel casing for naming these methods. The set methods are used for assigning values to these variables. The value we want to assign is passed as a parameter to these methods. For instance, in the set name, we pass the name as the parameter, and in the set age, we pass the age as the parameter. And these values are assigned to the variable within the method body. So we say this dot name equals name, and this dot age equals age. This is a keyword in Java. This refers to the current instance of the class. In other words, we can say this keyword refers to the object with which we call this setter method. The getter methods are used for returning the values of these private variables. The getName method returns the name, and the same way, the getAge method returns the age. And look at the access modifiers of these getter and setter methods. They are all public. They have to be public. If they are also declared as private, then these methods can be used only within this class and cannot be accessed outside this class, which means we will not be able to access these private variables anywhere outside the class, even if we want it genuinely accessed. So getter and setter methods are always declared public. Now let us try to access these variables outside this class. So we already got a class called another class in which we will try to access these variables. Let me remove this code we already have. So let us create an object of this class, private modifier. Let me give the name as PM equals new private modifier. Then we will say PM dot. And as you could see, we cannot see the variable names, name and age, because they are declared as private. But we can see the get age and get name. And the same way, we can see the set age and set name methods, because those methods are declared as public. So let us call the set name method and set the value for this. And let's set the name as John. Same way, we will set the age. Let me say the age is 45. Now let us print these values, pm dot get name and pm dot get age. So using the setter methods, we are assigning the value to the variables. and using the getter methods, we are able to get the value of these variables. Let us run this program now. We say run as Java application, and we can see the values John and 45 printed. These are the values that we set for the name and age. And using the get method, we are able to get the values for this name and age. Now a question will arise. We declared these variables as private to encapsulate these values. But now, using the get and set methods, we are exposing these variables to other classes. This means we are violating the basic rule of declaring the variable as private. Then why should we have these get and set methods? In the first place, the get and set methods are used to control the way we access the private variables. For example, using the set name, we can set some conditions based on which the name can be set. Before setting the value, I can check for a condition that the name should not be equal to null or empty. So I can say if name equals null or name.length equals 0, I will not set the name. I can give a message, the name cannot be empty. Otherwise, I can set the name. So using this conditional statement, we can check if the name is equal to null or empty. And if so, we give a message to the user that the name cannot be empty. Otherwise, we set the value for the name variable. In the same way, we can check for the age. If the age is less than or equal to 0, we can say that we cannot assign this value to the age variable. So this way, we can control the way in which the values are assigned to the private variables. We can also make our instance variables read-only by just having the getter methods. For example, here we will comment the setter methods for the name and age. So we just have the get name and get age. So by no way we will be able to set the values for the name and age. We will be able to only read the values of name and age using the get methods. So this way we can make the variables read-only. By declaring the variables with private modifiers and combining them with getter and setter methods, developers can achieve a clean and efficient coding style and also at the same time can maintain data security and encapsulation. We just saw how the instance variables are declared as private and accessed using the getter and setter methods. Which other class members can be declared private? Methods can be either private or public. A method, when it is declared private, can be accessed only within the class where it is declared. Private methods are used as utility methods meant for internal class functionality and not exposed to the outside. For example, we can have a private method to check the name. We will say check name, which takes a parameter name. And we can have this logic within the check name method. And this check name can be called inside this set name method. So here the check name method behaves like a utility method, which is called by the set name to check the validation of the name. And this method can be used only within this class as it is declared private and cannot be called by any other class to validate the names. Constructors by default are public, but we can have private constructors in special cases. When we use a singleton pattern, we use the private constructor. We will be learning about singleton pattern in the object-oriented programming course. Also, nested classes can be declared private. Nested class is a class within another class. We will be again learning about nested classes in detail in the object-oriented programming course. Can we have the top-level class as private? No. When we declare a class, the class can either be public or default. We cannot have a class as private. A top-level class is meant to be accessed by other classes, either within the same package or across the packages. Declaring a top-level class as private would make it inaccessible to all other classes, rendering it useless. So in this lecture, we have seen in detail how we can make use of the private modifier with the class members.